Salute everyone. This is Lawrence D. Adams. This is when spirituality and the game combines. You have the thinking class. We are live right now. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. Let's take the gloves. Shout out to John the W. Shout out to Joe Bass. What's going on? Let me change my camera setting right here. Hit the like button when you come in. Apparently, I caused a stir with my one video I did with Kim Evans. And I had to do a video today about, we're not going to talk so much in detail about Micheal B. Jordan, because I think that would just be a disservice to what we do over here. Let me get this light on right quick. There we go. That's the look I'm looking for. So yeah, I don't want to, but let's talk about it. There is a demand for masculinity. Mike is coming through the computer. Mike coming through your computer, I think. Oh, okay. Sounds a little hot. Okay, there it is. What about now? Should be good. So look, what's going on, Alpha Kingdom? Shout out to you. My mic, it should be good now. Everything is 1 2 1 2. Do a check. There we go. Cool. What's going on, Alpha Kingdom? Make sure you guys subscribe and you know who he is. Alpha Kingdom. Is it better now? Let me know if it's better now, because it might be a little hot. I had it all the way up. Perfect. Good. Appreciate that. That's what I'm talking about. Men being men. Accountability to each other. Respect to Alfie. Shout out to William. Shout out to you. Thank you for that song beforehand. Appreciate that. But I want to talk about there's a demand for masculinity. And we look at this whole example with Micheal B. Jordan and Lori Harvey. Okay, great. They broke up. Pretty much handwriting was on. What's going on? Show and support. Thank you. I appreciate that. It reals. I appreciate that. Just wanted to pop in the show and show support. I appreciate that. You know, there was going on way. There's this whole thing when them breaking up. And from what I understand, and I can be wrong, allegedly, let me make sure I put that right, because when you're in this business of sharing anything, you got to say allegedly if you do not know hardcore facts. Allegedly, he wanted a long-term relationship and she didn't. Let me say that again. He wanted a long-term relationship and she did not. She didn't want one. I keep telling you, I'm sharing with you guys, you got to vet these women on who's going to come in your life and who's not. This was a good time. Good thing he did not marry her and she said she wanted to jump out. So this is perfect. She wanted a long-term. She didn't want one, even though she was doing all the things that she was doing to try to get herself together to get it to be that woman. But when you're for the streets, baby, you for the streets. So let me say, when you for the streets, baby, you are for the streets, whether you like it or not. And I just what it is. And even though it looked like a great couple, they was doing it together. She lost weight. She was keeping herself fit. But if the mentality is not there to go long term, you need to keep her as a short term. It's like going into the little hotel. There's a short stay hotel, and then there's a long stay hotel. You pay by the month, you can pay by the week, or you can pay by the day. Some of you trying to stay in a place where you need to pay by the day, you think you're supposed to pay by the week. And that's exactly what happened with this situation right here. This is not disparagingly on her. So please understand, I don't got time to bash women. I don't got time to put women down. This is just a handwriting on the wall. Thank you, Lee, allegedly. The other side of it is, why is it a demand for masculinity? Because in the current climate that we are in, inside of what's good for, so when current climate that we're in, we're seeing that the supply is limited, but the demand is high. Let me say that again. The supply of masculine. See, everybody want to use toxic masculinity. They want to put a toxic on there. They want to put might be a trans masculine or whatever the case may be. But there is a demand for true, pure masculinity in this culture, in this world, and really in this country. There's a demand for it. But the problem is we have a culture of people. We have a culture of people who want to stifle masculinity. They want to stifle masculinity. So the demand for true masculinity is high. This goes back to the teaching about value. When you value yourself, when a man values his true masculinity, his pure masculinity, the demand for you becomes high. What happens is we have a lot of people who are trying to mutter or try to stop the voice of true masculinity. Hence why they didn't like Kevin, because he wouldn't back down. Hence why are you getting on this? You need to do that. No, it's because they want to stop what the demand is for a real masculinity. Every woman, whether they want to admit it or not, and I need to say this probably be the whole thing for the whole week. Every woman, no matter what they will say out of their mouth, is this: they want a man to be a man. Let me say that again. They want a man to be a man. So there is a demand for men to stand on their 10 toes down and be that man. What we have is a shortage. The supply is limited. So that's why we have classes like this, the thinking class. Not for you to say, oh, what's going on, Sharice? For you to say, oh, we thinking together, we feeling groovy. No, everyone's feeling fine. No, what we need is for men to step into their masculinity. Now the thing of it is, I could say we need to define it, because if you've been here long enough, you should know what pure masculinity is. If not, we'll break it down. But it's time out for men not being men. I promise you, the attacks against men being men is so fierce, so swift, so intentional. Shame, guilt, and the need to be right. It's because if you can attack masculinity, you can stop what? The forward march of men or of this society. Actually, right now, it's a slow grind. If we cause the men to be weak, if we cause them to be feminine, if we cause them to say they don't know what to be confused, guess what happens? We now have a better control over society. It's when men stand on their 10 toes down and say this is enough, that society changes. Let me say that again. When men, they allow the women to go out and protest all they want. But when men back the women and stand on their 10 toes and say, hey, we're not going for this, that's when everyone wakes up. That's when everyone say, hey, we need to make a change. Do you understand that the demand for masculinity is high? The demand for masculinity, masculine men, is high. It's so high, it's so expensive right now that we have women who are deciding to be masculine. It's so high that we have women who are deciding to be masculine. Why? Think about that. We have women who are deciding that, because it's such a demand for masculinity, let me be the what? Let me try to be masculine. And it never works out. It never works out. Biologically, it would never work out. No matter what you change, it would never work out. That's why there's such a high demand for masculine men. And in this class, in these group of men, people who listen, people who don't agree, it is time out. It is time to you to realize that your demand is at the table. People are looking for men who stand up. Let me give something. Let me back up. There's a lot I want to say, and it's flooding me right now. Now I did an interview with Kim Evans. If you listen to what I said on the video, which is only 2 minutes, clearly, I'm noticing with certain men who have been feminized, they do not listen. They do not listen. I said clearly what I said at the end of that video. And here a young man, I don't know who he is. But I can tell by his statement that he doesn't know how to listen, how to reason, how to not respond, or how to say, maybe I need to look at it another way. The reason why there's such a demand for men is because we have a lot of men who do not listen. Who is the first? This is no disparagingly against women. The first thing a woman do is go by her emotions about what she heard. A wise man said, if you want to know something, shut your mouth. Begin to question and listen. When I looked at the statement that the man wrote on the video, I clearly said he did not listen to it. And what happens is a lot of men don't realize that they have been feminized through this culture, through social media, through education, so that they are not relevant. Got some things sort of switched there, so that they are not relevant. So the first clue that a man must do, because he's in high demand, he must listen. I'm seeing that this is like every man I'm watching who comments on something or has something to say, they always are ready to retort. They're always ready to say, no, that ain't no, that ain't right. That's feminine. They always first want to say that's beta. That's when you realize that you're in high demand, and that the demand for masculinity calls for you to listen with your two ears and to hear what's being said. I think that's a problem that we have, why the supply is so limited, because we don't have men who listen, who reason not with their emotions, but with their logic. Even in that short video that's only 2 minutes, it's clearly stated what was said, that man did not reason. It's so filtered through that women are trying to attack them, that women are trying to get them, but they don't know how to listen and reason. And when a man sits back and learns how to reason, to think about what's being said, hence why we had the thinking class, and then articulate from a place of wisdom and understanding, can he give proper response? So the demand for masculinity is so high. It's so high. The demand for men who are not masculine is not. See, a woman will take a man that's not masculine because she can run over him. But at the end of the day, she wants a man that's in his masculinity. First, he knows how to listen. We know that. So the demand for masculinity is at an all-time high. In the case of Micheal B. Jordan, he knew what he wanted. So I talked this many times back. With Micheal B. Jordan, he was listening with his eyes. He was not only listening with his ears, because y'all think just listening applies to ears, but he was listening with his eyes. What I mean, he was listening with his eyes. He was watching her every move. Even though they try to paint a picture that they were both heartbroken. No, Micheal said, you're not in my future. Demand for masculinity. See, a man that's in his masculinity has no problem cutting off something that's not going to fit in his future. Let me say that again. A man that's in his masculinity has no problem cutting off anything that does not fit inside of his future. Lori Harvey did not fit inside of his future. She fits for what? The streets. So no longer was he just listening with his ears. He was listening with his eyes. But let me go a little bit further with his eyes. He wasn't just enamored by her beauty and her booty and her curves and her fingertips, her ability to try to get herself together. He was watching deeper than that. He was looking at the intentions of her heart. She wasn't really about that life. She was about the life of just getting her own thing, which is the demise of many women in this culture, in this Western culture. So he was watching, he was listening to what she was saying because he can sound good, but he was looking at her, not just how she looked, but he was watching the intent of her heart and realized she couldn't go the long run of being with him. They looked good together. I thought they were going to make it. I thought they was going to do it. But when a man realized that this ain't the right fit for me, cut it. His feelings may be hurt. He may be disappointed, but the thing he has to do is cut it swiftly. You cut anything that does not belong in your life. That's why there's such a high demand of masculinity in this culture. Because men don't have the fortitude to even say, cut this ain't right. So yeah, he went, and I know a lot of guys going to shame him. Oh, he went a long-term relationship, and that man should. No, let's be very clear. A lot of men want a woman that they can spend the rest of their life with. Stop buying into this YouTubian crap that everybody want to be a player. Everybody does not want to be a player. Everybody does not want to be a pimp. Everybody just don't want to be a Mac. Some men want a loving wife that they can spend the rest of their life with. So don't buy into this garbage that I hear propagating a lot of times on YouTube. If men were to be honest and take their cape off, they want to be with a woman that they can love and they can share with. Pure masculinity, the demand for masculinity. So don't buy into this crap that you hear. He beta, he's alpha, he's this, he's that. No, men really want that. But what they're seeing is, because men are waking up into their masculinity, is this. What they want in their life and what they need and what they deserve is not relatively available. If this is making sense to you, put a number 2 in the chat room. If you're understanding what I'm saying, put a number 2 in the chat room. Put a number 2 in the chat room. A man has no qualms of cutting off what does not belong in his life. Swiftly. Done. The demand for masculinity is at an all-time high. At an all-time high. There's no crying about it. There's no calling your mama about it. There's no calling your great auntie about it. You cut it off swiftly. The demand for masculinity is at an all-time high. And what we see is now what's going on is the attack of any man who says, I would not tolerate your sugar honey iced tea. Now, we can go down that whole path all we want. But I'm here to tell you what Michael, so I don't, like I said, this is just my observation of Micheal B. Smith. So you can say whatever you want. I don't know them personally. This is just reports. So I can say allegedly. But if you look at it clearly, you know that this beautiful young lady is for the streets. She didn't hop from one carousel to the next carousel to the next carousel to the next. And you will hope that she would have learned that when she see this is the thing, sometimes they don't recognize when they have something good until it's too late. Do you understand? That's why there's such a demand for masculinity and the supply is short. So the other first thing I said, he listened. He listened with his 2 ears. He listened with his eyes, but he listened with his intention on where her heart was. See, some of y'all, because she's giving you good sex, she's giving you that good stuff. She's cooking, she's cleaning, but she's only doing it just to appease you. She's not doing it because that's who she is. She's doing it because she's trying to get the bag. She's trying to secure you. So pure masculinity will look at that, observe, and say, let me reason. Does this woman fit in my future, or is she just a right now? And it's okay. Trust me, it's okay if she's just a right now. It's okay if she's just a right now. But does she fit truly in my future? And where am I going? Where I need to be at? Or is she really just a distraction from where I am? What's going on, Kenosha? So is she just a distraction for where I need to be at? You need, as men, for the demand for masculinity, you need to be able to do that. You need to listen to people who are telling you the God honest truth, not this cupcaking, trying to appease you, trying to make you feel good, trying to make you say, hey, all women are like that. You need to hear something that's solid, that's foundational. And there is a demand for real masculinity. There's a demand for men standing up. The other side of this is the demand for masculinity is a demand for what? Pure respect. Pure respect. Pure respect. The demand for masculinity is so heavy right now. It's so heavy that men got to realize that if you got to say to the people around, if you don't respect me, you don't. What did Pip God said? If you don't respect me, you're not gonna. You're gonna run into my absence. I didn't say it correctly like he said it, but my absence is going to be felt. So it is imperative in this time, in this day and age, that we understand that the demand for masculinity is at an all-time high. I don't care what they say in social media. I don't care what they say on these YouTube streets. I don't care what this content creator said. If you don't realize that there is a demand for masculinity, guess what? You in the wrong channel. You're in the wrong place. I've watched from the sidelines. I watched while in the game how there's been a strategic assault, almost like an occult arrow shot at men from them not being masculine. If you can just look at the NBA now and then how it was back in the 80s and only the mid 90s, that you watched how it changed. Look at the NBA. I've never seen such soft players fouling out because it's a demand for masculinity. Not saying that these guys are not masculine. But what happens is when there's a demand for masculinity, guess what happens? The society or everything fears, because masculinity at its core can be very dangerous. Masculinity at its core can be very, very dangerous. Dangerous. So much danger that if they don't feel like they can control it, they have to control it on some ways, these men would take over. So you understand that the demand for you is is at an all-time high. But look at the NBA. I love the NBA. Shout out to the Warriors and in Boston. Shout out to you guys. Not saying that they're weak, but I am saying that the basketball game and how it was played when I watched it as a kid to now is not the same. If you go down the hole, you're going to feel it. If you talk junk, you're going to feel it. It's because the demand for masculinity is in your face. How many men in this chat room who are watching me on some level have seen or have seen or who have experienced an attack on masculinity? Put a yes or put a no in the chat room. How many men have seen or have dealt with an attack on masculinity you have known personally in your own life? I'm seeing the comments. Yes, daily. Yes, 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 yes. How many? Come on, y'all got more men in here. And the reason why there's such an assault on masculinity is because when you want to stop the demand of it, you don't want it to spread. It's everywhere, subtle, but this there. Yeah, there you go. Right. I'm telling you, the attack on masculinity is so vicious. And it's to, and I said this, and I have to bring out the book. It is to castrate not just your physical testicles, but your mental and spiritual testicles, so that you cannot produce anything of value. So if the men are castrated or partially castrated, what do you think he's going to raise? What do you think he's going to produce? He's going to produce nothing but weakness for the next generation. So if his father ain't no good, was a weak man, what do you think his sons and his daughters going to be? Weak ass people. The goal is to castrate masculinity to such a point that men say, I just give up. I don't want to deal with it. I'm tired of it. But the goal is to make not a stronger next generation, but to groom. Appreciate you, Mercy Cup, the Mercy Cup. Is to groom what? The next generation to be even weaker. So the demand for masculinity is at an all-time high. It is at an all-time high right now. I know this seems contrary to what you have heard and what you have said and what you have seen on YouTube and what everybody else is saying, but I'm saying there's such a demand for it. It's such a demand for men to stand up on their 10 toes, on a solid foundation, and be men. It is not popular. It will not be popular. People will not like you. People will hate you. People will try to call you beta for being what you are, a masculine man. They will try to define you. They will try to shame you. They will try to put you in guilt. They will try to do anything they can so that they can see that you never stand up and be a real man. The goal is to stop you, but the mission is to kill your seed. The goal is to stop you, but the mission is to stop, is to come after your seed. Because if I can stop your seed from seeing what a masculine man is, they will go down the rabbit hole and there will never, ever be any inkling of what masculinity is. Do you understand how powerful this is? Later this week, I'll go into why this is so important. Because women, see, Lori Harvey hasn't hit that button in her mind, hasn't clicked yet. It hasn't jumped on yet. She's gonna realize that she done fudged up with Micheal B. Jordan. She has messed up. The lights are going to click on. Here I had a man that was down with me, who was with me, who was getting me together, but I was too selfish to see where he was going. So the demand for masculinity, it's everywhere. And let me say this to stir some people up. And I know you may not like it, but I'm going to say it. If they don't want you here, go where they will pay for you. If you got a product and your product is good, it's solid, do you understand that there are a group of people who will get your product and pay thousands of dollars? While this group of people will look at it and say, I don't even like this product. This product stinks. You ain't no good. I'm going to get rid of you. You worthless. While this group of people will say, hey, where have you been all my life? Oh my God, this is the best. I cannot get rid of it. Oh my, I love it. You know why? You need to go where you're celebrated and not where you tolerate it. And I'm here to say the demand for what? The demand for what? Your masculinity may not be where you are standing at. If they can't appreciate you, peace. Telling you, if I'm telling you, I'm trying to help guys understand. Don't get on debating with women. Don't debate with other men. Don't do it. Remember the sayings, I debate with my equals and all others I teach, John Henry Clark. So you don't even debate about it. If the demand, what's going on, Black Jack, if they cannot appreciate who you are as a man and your masculinity, where you at, everybody should know the words of my grandfather, Jonas McCall. Don't get mad, just leave. In the words of my grandfather, he said, don't get mad, just leave. I'm telling you, the demand for masculinity may not be where you're standing right now. It may not be in your city. You may need to go to another state. You may need to go out the country. Thank you. See, thank you. He kidded. This is my grandfather saying. Everybody should know my grandfather saying, don't get mad, just leave. The demand for who you are as a man may not be appreciated here. Don't get mad, just leave. Just leave. Don't get mad, just leave. I promise you, the demand for who you are as a man is in such high demand that people are willing to do whatever. They're willing to come over here, show up over here. I was watching a video yesterday. Shout out to the Brother Man, I think Brother Man Travel Channel, something like that. He was in Thailand. Interesting video. He's walking down the street, recording with his gimbal and his camera. The women, hi, how are you? How are you doing? What's going on? Hi. Wait a minute. Don't get mad, just leave. The demand for your masculinity will be appreciated maybe in another place. And this is the thing, and I gotta say this. We can't say, you know what, forget all these women. Some of these women just don't know. They just don't know. They just don't know. They just don't understand that what they're doing and how they're moving is being masculine. Trust me, on an anatomical and on an energetic level, please pay attention. You cannot have a negative and expect there to be attraction. You can have a positive and a positive and expect it to be a positive, to be attraction. What you got to have is a negative plus a positive for there to be an attraction. What happens is, you need to hear this breakdown. What's going on is we have a lot of men who want to step into their masculinity, who are in their masculinity, but they're running against women who are what? In their masculinity. So now there's a debate on who is more masculine, the woman or the man. And so what happens is when the man is in his masculinity, he automatically begins to attract women that are more what? Feminine. Because the masculine woman cannot stand a masculine man. Man, I get some super chats on that. I got to say that was good. The masculine woman cannot deal with a masculine man because a masculine man will always dominate that woman. Why am I saying this? Because many times women don't know how they've been trained, how they've been brought up, that they've been brought up to be men. They have been brought up, reared, been shown from their mothers, from their grandmothers, and whoever else that this is how you need to do it, not knowing that they lost the very essence of being a feminine woman. And so what happens is we have a breakdown in our community, because if we have a bunch of masculine women, what do you think we have going on? Somebody please tell me, if we have a bunch of masculine women, what do you think happened to the men? What do you think happened to the little boys? If we have a bunch of masculine women, what do you think what happened to the little boys? Please, somebody in the chat room tell me before I leave this channel, before I log off. If we have a bunch of masculine women, what happened to the little boys? What happened to the men? Somebody tell me what happens to them. They become the men they desire. Thank you so much. And in turn, they become the men that they don't really want. They get imprinted with BS. Thank you. That's why there's such a demand for masculine men. I was at an art walk on. Thank you. I love it. You got a bunch of soft ass emotional males. I was at an art walk this weekend, walking with my friend. We were just talking, looking at artwork and different vendors. She said, you know, I was watching watching the internet, and I seen what's going on. I'm watching a bunch of, artists' artwork. She was watching this TV show, and it was about the bull elephant. I said, oh, okay, interesting. So I'm listening intently. Shout out to you again, Grip. Shout out to you. I was watching a bunch of bull elephants, and they were in captivity. And all the young bull elephants were running amok. They were knocking over the females. They were doing things. They was eating stuff. They were tearing things up. They couldn't get them under control. Everything was, these young bull elephants were just acting crazy. They were doing all kind of things. This is going to make sense. They were eating stuff they weren't supposed to eat. They was knocking over fences. They were biting. They were fighting amongst each other. They were fighting the older women. They were doing all kind of things. So the person that was in charge of them said, we got to do something about this. What do we do to get these young bull elephants under control? What do we do to get them back to get them back in check? They thought, wait a minute, maybe we bring more bull female elephants. That didn't work. So pay attention to what I'm saying. So we're bringing more bull elephants. So they brought in more. They said, we're bringing in more bull female elephants. You're going to catch what I'm saying. So they brought in more bull female elephants, and the young bulls, they started acting even worse when they brought in more adult female elephants. They start acting crazy. They start doing stuff again. Then they say, you know what? Let's not do this. What they did was they brought in the bull male adult elephants. When they brought in the bull male elephants, within a week time spans, the young bulls calmed their asphalt down. Do you understand what happens? How powerful masculinity, why there's such a demand? When the male bull elephants came in, they got the young bulls in order, elephants in order. They stopped doing the things they were doing. They start acting right. But even though we're looking at this from the animal perspective? Do you understand this is what we're experiencing on our human level with the lack of masculinity in our culture, in our community, with all these shootings, with all these shootings going on? This is what we're experiencing. When you take out the element of pure masculinity, the youth run crazy, the women run out of control too. You need the element. Thank you, Monica Cooper. You need the element of what balance. If it happened from an observation of looking at bull elephants and the importance of bringing in the male element into the masculine, into this group of elephants to get the young bulls in order, what do you think is missing in our community, in our nation? And that is a demand for masculinity. Let me say that what's going on, Danielle? The order of the way, the order of the way of God is set. I promise you, if y'all can see it with animals, and on some level we are animals, but if you can see it with animals who understand, them young bulls got themselves together. It's because the older men bulls will kick them, punch them, whatever the case, to get them in line. We're not condoning violence, but I am saying that they got them in line. The demand for masculinity is so important right now. It's not just, it is for procreating and getting your seed into the future, but it is to establish order around you and everyone that you are affected. If you can see it with the bull elephants, how much more can you see it? Wake up, brothers. Wake up, sisters. Wake up and see that the demand for masculinity is at an all-time high. You can sit on the sideline and say, hey, this ain't me, man. I'm just going to, you know my favorite thing I'm going to do. Say my camera froze up. See, my camera then froze up. Let's see, can you guys still hear me? Let me know in the chat room. My camera froze up. Yep, still froze up. Let's see, let's do this. Whoop. Caught me in mid-frame. So my camera froze up, but you still be able to hear me. Let me get it going. Okay. I love it. Technology is my friend. You can hear me. Good, good. So if you see that, if you can see that with the animal kingdom with bull elephants, how much more can you not see it in your own community? If you look at these shootings, it is by who? Good. It's just, you got to figure out what's going on with the camera. Good. You can hear me. Good. If you see this with these shootings that are going on, who are doing the majority of the shooting? Can somebody tell me in the chat room who's doing the shooting and what's going on for the past week or two plus? Somebody tell me who's been doing the shooting. Correct, children. Somebody else tell me what it is. Who else has been doing? Thank you, children. Yep. Come on. The youth. Yes. This is interesting. My camera has stopped. Thank you. Demasculated man. Yep. Males. Thank you. Somebody, please. Thank you. Do you understand why there's such a demand for masculinity right now? Do you understand that is why we need more men to step into their masculinity? That man, the kids are kids raised by single mothers. Come on. Why? Do you understand now why there's such a demand for masculine? Men. Not for people to go, yeah, I'm a man. You better listen to me. No, it's a demand. Yeah, the demand. It's my camera that has went down. We might have to get another camera. But you know, always got a backup. Always got a backup. But yeah, it's a demand for what? It's a demand for what? Masculine men. I got a backup. Always got a backup. Nothing will stop me. Let me flip this around. Flip. There we go. Here we go. And I'm gonna do this. Let's see if this setting works. While I figure out what's going on with this camera. 1, 2, 1, 2. You know, I'm a genius at this. Let's see. Boom. Let's see here. There we go. Boom. Started. There we go. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Always. Boom. Now you should be able to hear me and see me. So there is a demand for what? Masculine men. You may not think, and it's not so much what you say, it is your presence as a masculine man that's very important. It is your what? It is your presence as a masculine man that's so important. If you don't get this, you missed the message today. How much time do I got? I got a couple more minutes. I see the comment. You can see me good. Most boys, good, good, good. I totally agree. There's a demand for masculine. I know I am definitely finding terms is an issue. Thank you, Monica. Thank you. We need more. You guys should be able to see me good. So there's a demand for masculine men. Now we haven't even got to, Monica's already jumped already into the weep. Because there's such a demand for masculine men. Do you understand that all these shootings are revolving around what? Men. And normally, if you were to look a little closer, allegedly, it's normally involved with something they're lacking: masculinity, responsibility, honor. That's why we need masculine men. Do you understand why there is such a demand for it? But also, do you understand why there's such an attack on masculine men? Do you understand why there's such an attack on masculine men? Why there's such an attack on masculine men? Because when there's no men, like an example of the bull, elephants, the women and the children run wild. And what we see in our society, when I watch these YouTubes and I watch these hip hop stars and all these people talking stuff online and some of these preachers and teachers and all these people talking crazy, I realize I always ask, where is the man? My question in my mind is always, where are the men? Where are the men who stand up and say, no, you ain't gonna be able to do that? I'm not tolerating that. We ain't going for that. And I promise you, the demand for you is so high right now. Now, this is the question. This is the thing I want to end with. Either you can accept it or stand on the sidelines and be a man who complains, who whines and cries about what women ain't gonna do and could do, or you're going to be a man who's going to step into the fire and make a change. There's going to be a change. I keep telling you, man, you need to hear this clearly. You need to go where you are celebrated. The demand for masculinity is so great right now. It's so great. It's so great. It's so great. And if you don't embrace it today, you have an opportunity today to embrace that the demand for me is at an all-time. I'm frozen on this one. Something must be going on. Wow. I told Jada, you better stop doing this. Let me go back to this. Jada, I don't know what you're doing to this thing. You keep messing, keep freezing up. The one camera didn't going down. Jada, cut that out. Jada didn't come over here. Jada, you better stop all that stuff messing up these cameras. Got me frozen on the other one. Other camera not working. Come on now. You never had this happen before. 2 cameras froze up. Get out of here. Get out of here. It's all good. As long as you guys can still hear me, right? All right, Jada.
Execute Order 66.
Jada didn't execute Order 66 on the cameras. Cut the cameras off on them. Don't allow them to see them. Jada didn't
execute Order 66.
I tell you, Jada, you tried that. See, you didn't do that to Will, but you ain't doing that over here. You ain't coming over here messing up my cameras. You ain't 2 cameras, not both cameras and froze up. Get out of here. There we go. I'm about to say, I don't know what's going on. Even on the hot day, it wouldn't even like this. I don't know what's going on. There you go. I'm back. It still froze up. I tell you, that Jada, she done really messed up now. Look at that. Still froze up. I tell you. With that being said, I'm going to end this broadcast. We're going to continue this conversation this week, the demand for masculinity, and we're going to talk about what Monica sort of tiptoed right in. There are women who are waiting for men to step or to showcase, or not even showcase, to be their masculinity, to be their masculine. So with that being said, this is Lawrence D. Adams. I'm about to get ready to go. I got to figure these cameras out because you know I like stuff in order. We out of here. Peace. Jada done come over here and mess these cameras up. Jada, stuff I tell you. I think it might have just ran. Get yours, Jada. Get yours, Jada. I tell you, boy, messed up both cameras.